Love, it has been good to me this time around. Things were they were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find
Hello and welcome to this week's fabulous episode of X-Rad Live, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xander Network, live from an undisclosed location. Yes, you guessed it, it's Ocasio-Cortez's banking room in her new apartment. I'm Xander Gibb. Oh yes, who else would I be? And on today's show, I get on my soapbox and give you the chance to get on yours too. In our phone in on 845-363-4747, that's 845-363-4747. Motivational speaker Dielawn Volk joins us. And in part two, Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck drops by to break down this week's hottest topics. Don't forget, I will be joining Joe Messina on the real side, 6 Pacific, and you can have your say on the show today in the feed, wherever it might be for you. For some people it's above, some people it's below, and some people it's like just over there, back east, as it were. And you can call in when we get to that segment. As I said, 845-363-4747, 845-363-4747. That's if you're in the United States. But if you are in the United Kingdom, my friends, in Brexit land, you can come on the show via Facebook Live when we get to that segment. You can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter, because Jack is a scared little boy who's afraid to admit his addiction to Chick-fil-A. Oh yes, it's true. You heard it here first. Stop press. Cortez is a puppet. She is just a puppet. Just need to put that out there. I want to go to something a little bit more serious now that we're going to talk a little about somewhat later in the second section with Chet, but I want to get people to phone in on this topic. I want to send my condolences with reference to the shooting in New Zealand today. It made me sad to actually watch the video of it actually happening, like live on Facebook. But it kind of, I have a lot of questions about it. And whilst it's very sad and I can't condone it in any way, shape or form, but why didn't Sadiq Khan in his press conference today say it was to be expected? Because it was. If it's okay for Sadiq Khan to say it was to be expected if you live in a large city that terror attacks are going to take place, why could he not express that sentiment today? And I think it is a time for us to all come together, because I don't want anybody to be killed, regardless of their beliefs and ideologies. But we should be showing the same level of response, the same shock and the same horror when Muslims are killed, just the same as when Christians are killed. But my heart is a bit heavy today regarding that. I think there was bound to be a kickback at some point. I'm surprised it's not happened before now. I'm surprised that that people had not become more kind of radicalized on the other side of the street with regards to those that feel aggrieved about the level of Islamification that's going on in some of our cities and countries. But I still can't, as a Christian, I still cannot get past this ideology that we should not be celebrating that people have died, whichever God they pray to. So we'll be taking some calls about that. We're going to open the phone lines in a moment. Theresa May has been blocked this way, every which way, on her failed Brexit deal. Now, Donald Trump said Theresa May ignores his suggestions on how to negotiate Brexit, and he is surprised at how badly it has been handled. He said quite rightly that Brexit is tearing countries apart, but it would be unfair to hold a second referendum, quite right. He said it's a very complex thing right now. It's tearing countries apart and actually tearing a lot of countries apart, and it's a shame it has to be that way, but I think we will stay right in our lane. I'm surprised at how badly it's gone from a standpoint of negotiation. I gave the Prime Minister my ideas on how to negotiate it, and you would think she would have been successful. She didn't listen to that, and that's fine. She's got to do what she's got to do. But the thing is, Mr. Donald, I know you listen to the show, sir. She's not listening to anybody, not even the British people right now. So that is a huge concern for all of us. I'm just going to come to the live feed now and say hello to everybody in the live feed. Hello to Chet, who's going to be my guest. He's going to buy me a beer and be my guest in part 2. Hi to Dave. Hello to Ali. Welcome. Hello to Ken. Hello to my Gina. Hello to Jean. Hello to Ken. I think I said that already. Hello to CV, who's also one of the hosts of Freedom on Deck. Hello to Susie. Hello to who else is there? I'm duplicating now. Hello to everyone who's watching. Hello to Joe here in the UK. Hello to everybody who is watching and not in the live feed. Feel free to come and join us in the live feed and share your comments. You don't have to agree, but you do have to be polite. Now we're going to open up the phone line now. We've probably got time to take 1 or 2 calls. Call us now if you're in the United States, 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747. You can call us and give us your views on anything that we've discussed, or any of the things that I've mentioned, or anything you want to kind of get off your chest. Once again, the number is 845-363-4747. Call us right now, and we will take your call and talk about whatever you want to comment on. There's been a lot of talk today with regards to the fact that social media has been a huge part of what happened today in New Zealand. But I think that when you actually look at this on balance, it actually has, because what it has done, it's stifled the opinions from both sides. But what I've been saying for long enough is that I want to see more Muslim people coming out and condemning acts of terror, and I want to see the same from Christians too. And I'm sure a lot of us objected to what happened today, and have not kind of maybe, I don't know, not felt that they could be public about the way that they feel. But I have to keep re-emphasizing this, that anybody killing anybody in this situation is really unacceptable, and this kind of tit for tat is not going to make a difference. It needs to end altogether. Hi to Paul, welcome to the show. Hello to Sharon, hope you're feeling better, my friend. The other thing that kind of jumped out for me today, as I said, was with regards to Sadiq Khan's commentary. I think that all of us with a voice and a public profile need to be a little bit more concerned about what we put out there. And I watched his response today, and for me, our response should be the same, whatever side of the road this is on. If it's a Christian church that gets shut up, if it's Christians that are killed by Muslims, or it's Muslims that are killed by Christians, we should be as shocked, both sides of the aisle, because ultimately, there's a saying, and I think it's a Buddhist saying, and it says, cruelty begets its offspring's war, and what it actually means is while we're killing, we will still be killed, and I think that the bloodshed has to end. We need to hone in on individuals that are radicalized on any issue, because we don't want any more bloodshed in the name of disagreement. And it kind of watching that play out live on Facebook today, watching the video, I saw it after the fact. It just made me very sad as a human being to think that that could have been anybody in that mosque. You know, children. The firing was indiscriminate, and children were killed today. And sorry, I'm getting emotional here. I kind of feel like the killing has got to stop. Sharon says, murder and terrorism is wrong, whoever does it, absolutely. And that all people are made in the image of God. Chet says, it seems like this received a lot more attention than the synagogue shooting. Absolutely, Chet, I totally agree. There's no balance with any of this. Hi, Maria, welcome to the live feed. There is absolutely no balance with this, and there's no balance on Facebook. But what we have to be aware of, I think, is not allowing politicians or those with a leaning in either direction to be able to control this narrative and divide us further. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, you know, am I tired of the Islamification of the United States and the United Kingdom? Absolutely, I am. But I'm not sure the blame for this can be placed at the feet of all Muslims alone. Let's face it, it's the authorities that are doing this. It's the moderators on social media that are allowing you to say you want to kill anybody, including gays, Christians, police officers, anybody but a Muslim. And I have to kind of preempt that by saying, you know, I don't want anybody to be killed. But we have to begin to apportion blame on these things, because if we don't do it and we don't actually see the cause, because it's them that are actually causing the divide, and those lunatics that are kind of on the fringe that want to go and shoot up mosques and kill Christians and kill innocent people and go and stab them in the street, that whilst they are on the increase, they are the minority. And the concern for me is that if we don't speak out against this, it's only going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. CV says Christians never commit terrorism. I wasn't suggesting that Christians commit terrorism. This guy that actually did this today, and I don't name people that that commit atrocities like this. He clearly wasn't a Muslim. He clearly was, you know, a WASP. He was clearly a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. And I'm not trying to point the finger in any direction apart from where it kind of needs to be. We all today need to be speaking out and saying that this is not acceptable, whether you happen to be a Muslim or a Christian or whatever, or even an agnostic. Whatever you actually recognize yourself as, you should be speaking out to it today and saying that this is wrong, whoever you are. So we could probably I don't know if we're going to have time, maybe one call, 845-363-4747 before our first guest comes on. 845-363-4747. My feed stopped moving. CV says, I've never seen a fake Christian commit terrorism either. I think you've misunderstood me, CV. Just had a problem there with the network connection. Chet said he claimed no religion. Again, I think you've misunderstood me. That I'm saying the outrage needs to be coming from all of us, and whoever the perpetrator of these acts, we need to condemn it, whatever they might be. You know, I'm a Christian. Let me point out once again, guys, I'm a Christian. You know, I'm a God-fearing, Bible-believing Christian, and so this is not an attack on Christians as far as I'm concerned. For me, I'm not attacking Christians. What I'm actually saying is that we all should be outraged by this level. I didn't think you were arguing with me, CV. I was just, it's very hard from when you read a comment to because the thing is that this is why I hate comments. There's no tone with comments. You can write one thing 50 different ways, and it comes across differently to everybody that reads it. I just my heart is very heavy today, and I probably feel things far more than I should, just because I'm you know, that's the way I am. I'm a very empathic person. I just feel that, you know, as someone with a platform, it was imperative that I had my say on what actually happened in New Zealand. And as I said, we are going to talk about this a bit more with regards to how it kind of reads into, you know, gun control and how the left is going to kind of use this, and already is, because, you know, it was Donald Trump's fault. You know, that's what they're saying in the media now. You know, I stubbed my toe on the door this morning. I guess that was Donald Trump's fault too. It rained here in the UK for 20 minutes today. I kind of think that's Donald Trump's fault as well. I'm not saying that before you write in or switch off. I am a Donald Trump supporter, but I do kind of have to really take a moment to point out the idiocy of the left in blaming Donald Trump for absolutely everything that happens in the planet. You know, the hurricane, we got the tail end of the hurricane in the UK. That was Donald Trump's fault too, apparently. Dave says, hey, on the good news, Donald is coming to my hometown next Wednesday to tour the M1 Abrams tank plant. Great. Make sure you go out there and make sure you go out there with the Donald Trump flags. I actually saw today that a girl had been asked to leave school because she took in her Donald Trump flag. I mean, what the hell is the world coming to when we cannot, as Americans, support our president? And I would be, you know, hella peeved at that if that was my kid or someone that I was related to. Because don't tell me that I'm not allowed to support my president or my kids, or anybody's kids for that matter. You know, the school board in that district really need to come down hard. And the guy that was there, I don't know who he was. I don't know if he was a guidance counselor or if he was the principal or what the hell he was. But if he spoke to my kid like that, you know, even though I'm in a wheelchair, he would have been knocked on his feet, because that's not a way to speak to children or anybody just because your political ideologies are different. I'm kind of sick of this. You know, teachers are entitled to their opinion, absolutely. But don't tell me about how they should be imparting their political ideologies to our children. So I'm going to do the intro now from my first guest. We didn't get any calls today, but that is absolutely fine. We had a good enough back and forth with you fabulous folks in the live feed. Can't even get to the queue prompter. So Dielawn Volk, diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at the age of 8. Dielawn is now navigating life as an adult with autism spectrum disorder. He's candid about his struggles, hoping his story can help others on the spectrum as well as their families. Now, his book is called Bad Choices Make Good Stories, I'm sorry, and is available from his website, and we will share that in a little while. Dylan says he's made mistakes and he's not afraid to share them. And telling the story of his life with autism, Dylan tackles topics through his unique perspective of the world and stories that will both educate and entertain readers. Audiences around the country have benefited from Dylan's dynamic and engaging presentations. And what makes him even more fabulous for me, before I give him a call and bring him on, is that, folks, are you ready for this? He's a Trump supporter. So let's, just waiting for the technology to kick in. I'm praying to God. My studio is going to be ready next week, I promise you. I want a producer. I want someone to come and push the buttons and do all of the things, so I can just talk to you guys out there. And I'm basically not have to worry about the technicalities. Welcome back to the show, Dielawn. How is the world with you, sir?
How you doing? I'm good.
We're having trouble hearing you. Are you on speakerphone or?
Hang on here.
The wonders of modern technology. just while we wait for Dielawn to sort out his feed. No, I was saying his name is Dielawn and he has Asperger's syndrome, Sharon. Sharon says she thinks she's an Aspie, though she's never been diagnosed. And CV says, free Tommy Robinson. Amen to that, brother. Are you with us? Dielawn?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay.
So welcome back to the show. How is the world with you? Please tell me that it's like -10 in California or something like that to make me feel better about how cold it is in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I thought we had lost you. So we didn't get as much of an opportunity to talk last time about your book, which is called Bad Choices Make Good Stories. Hello?
Yes, Bad Choices Make Good Stories, My Life with Autism.
Absolutely. Sorry, I missed the second part of it. No, I was
Bad choices make good stories. My Life with Autism.
right. Absolutely. We're gonna share the link to that as well. Now, I was reading some of the background stuff about the things that you'd experienced with regards to the bad choices you've made. I'm going to kind of talk to you a little bit about some of those choices, but I also want to know how much of the fact that your autism, do you feel your autism contributed to that?
Quite a bit. I'm sorry, did you want me to get on video or are we just doing audio?
We're just doing audio.
Okay, yeah. My autism contributed in various degrees. Like, well, it's always somewhat of a factor because the autism is just fundamentally part of how my brain works. But there's some things, say, I've had almost 50 jobs. I'm very good at getting jobs, but very bad at keeping them.
Right.
And I've gotten fired from a few jobs where it was my fault. I can't really blame it on the autism. I've just been a teenager who was slacking off before. Of course, I fell asleep and missed a shift, stuff like that. I've been late. But most of the time, it's something much more complex and much more related to the autism, related to people's lack of understanding how clear instructions need to be given to someone with autism is what trips me up a lot.
Right. And so do you not that I'm classifying autism as a disability, but for me as a person with a disability, I always give clear instructions about what I need when I'm going to a venue with regards to accessibility, et cetera, et cetera. Do you find that you have to do that all of the time in your life to kind of like explain yourself?
No, most people don't know that I have autism. 99% of the world doesn't know it, so they're looking at me as if I am someone without a disability, and so I usually have to just figure out a way to live up to that expectation.
Right. Absolutely. So tell us some of these mistakes that you've actually made that you feel that you feel you can share.
Well, let's see. I got fired from a job when I was 18 at Chili's. I was a host, and I was training with a girl who was very neurotypical. She had been there for a while. She had even been Employee of the Month. And there was a cute girl that came in with a family, and I asked if I could have this table because I said, oh, that girl is really hot. Can I take this table? And she said, yeah, you know what you should do? You should write a Post-it note with your phone number and slip it to them when they leave. And I said, no, you're not serious, are you? And then she said, yeah, no, it'd be funny. It'd be funny. Just do it. And so I did it, never wanted to back down from a dare. I did it, and turns out I was 18 at the time, but the girl was 14. And the dad comes marching in, all, not in the greatest of moods. And he lodges a formal complaint, and that was strike one. Now, I got a strike, and she got a strike, a write-up. But in these 3 strikes and you're out policies that they have a lot of corporate places, those are for neurotypical people who 3 screw-ups is totally reasonable to avoid.
Right.
That was her first write-up, but that was probably her last. She never probably did anything after that. But for me, the next week after that, I fell asleep, missed a shift, Now, that's really not one I can blame on the disability. That was just me being a lazy 18-year-old. And then after that, so that was 2 strikes. And then the 3rd strike came when there was a mandatory meeting on Saturday morning for all the employees, and the notice was on this bulletin board, which was filled with all kinds of random paperwork and, clipped phone numbers and legal notices. And apparently I was supposed to be checking this bulletin board. Nobody told me. I mean, they showed me the bulletin board during training, but nobody said, hey, if you don't check this bulletin board every day, there might be a notice on there that you miss, and you might get fired over that. So
right.
Check the bulletin board.
And you didn't?
Yeah, I didn't. That did not occur. It was all kinds of clutter, and my brain just sees that as like white noise. I'm not good at sorting through clutter. But if she told me my job depended on it, I might have sorted through the clutter. But yeah.
Absolutely. So I was interested to read on your website about your experiences with jail and drugs and that kind of thing. I've been very open about my addictions in the past, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Xander, you really shouldn't talk about that because people will view you differently." And I kind of feel the reason that I talk about my addiction problems in the past is because I hope that even if I just help one person, then I've made a difference. Is there kind of that vein with you with the stories that you share?
Yeah, a lot of the difference I hope to make is, a lot of cliches that I feel like that go unexamined, and a lot of times people repeat things without thinking. They don't evaluate whether these things are actually true. Like, for example, that men just want sex. The idea that we're all about just sex and we just want sex. That's BS. A lot of men want a fairy tale romance.
Right.
And
I know I do.
A lot of...
no, I'm not joking. I'm serious.
Yeah, and a lot of women just want sex, and it's about 50-50, honestly. You're just as likely to find a woman that just wants, and they don't even want romantic sex. A lot of them want rough, borderline violent sex, and then never see the person again. That's
right.
What they want. So, and we have this idea that women are these delicate flowers who just want a prince to be their gentleman and bring them flowers, and that's BS. Women are... they are just as degenerate as men.
I am sure that is the case with some people. So I want to ask you about the drug side of things. Was that, I kind of get the impression that maybe that was part of self-medicating. Is that the case?
Yeah, when I was doing drugs, I started off with your regular suspects, your cocaines, your mollies, your ecstasies, and then I realized that I'm not really feeling much from these drugs, and I like a good bang for my buck. I'm Jewish, so I like a good value for my money.
Ditto. All the best people are.
And I started thinking, well, maybe if I do a harder drug, I'll definitely feel something, and I won't have to wonder all night whether I took enough or whether it's working. So I was living in Texas at the time. Now in the West and in the South in America, a popular drug is crystal meth. And I was seeing a lot of people. I was actually hanging out with a lot of gay guys at this time, which is a whole other chapter in the book. By the way,
yeah, you gotta watch those gay guys, Dielawn.
Yeah. By the way, the book again, I just have to keep reminding, it's Bad Choices Made Good Stories, My Life with Autism, badchoicesmadegoodstories.com. So anyway, I was seeing a lot of gay guys that I thought were cool. And these are guys that had regular lives. They had a car, they had a job, they paid rent. And I saw them doing crystal meth. And it kind of normalized it for me. And it wasn't the people I thought would do crystal meth. I saw these just normal people doing it. And so I thought, well, if they can do it, maybe I can do it too. And so I started doing some meth and got kind of very into it. I really liked it. It just totally, you said the self-medicating, absolutely. It made me forget about the autism. It made me be able to kind of just let go and relax for once.
Absolutely. So do you feel, I know for me that with my drug use, it really was kind of self-medicating for my anxiety and depression. And I kind of, like a lot of people, started off with weed, and all these people who say, oh, weed is definitely not a gateway drug. We do kind of, those of us that have had addiction problems start off with something quite minor drug-wise, and then kind of, look for a bigger bang, as you say, no pun intended.
Yeah. I mean, it can be a gateway drug. The first drug I ever did was weed, of course. But if I hadn't done weed, I probably would have eventually tried the other stuff too.
Right. Yeah, I kind of think so. But I think if I hadn't done weed, because I was afraid of any kind of drugs, if I hadn't have done weed, I probably wouldn't have gone on to cocaine and that kind of thing. But I kind of guess it's different for everybody. Now, I want to know a little bit about, I know you do a lot of motivational speaking. What kind of venues do you do? What kind of people come along to these motivational sessions, and how what transpires at them?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Some woman was yelling at me outside.
These women yelling, I don't know. I bet she's a liberal. I was saying, tell us a bit about your motivational speaking and what kind of venues, what kind of people come along, and what happens at these events.
Okay. Well, yeah, my public speaking, I give audiences a taste of my book, and I kind of expound on a lot of the concepts I talk about in the book, and I take them through a journey of my early childhood through my high school years. I got kicked out of a couple different public schools and then brought back. I tell them about how I managed to find a way to fit in finally as a teenager, how I developed a group of friends, and what I did as an adult to try and be successful. And then I take them through the pitfalls of me going to jail a couple times, the lessons I learned, and I take them through the drug phase. And then I tell them that I went to rehab, and I tell them you won't believe what happened to me in rehab. You've got to read the book, and that's true. You read the book, you won't believe what happened to me in rehab. And then I tell them where I am today, which is I live in Los Angeles, and I'm trying to make it as a public speaker, and maybe a reality TV show star someday. I think a reality show based on my life would blow the Kardashians out of the water. I really do.
Oh God, let's face it, the Kardashians need blowing off the face of the earth, but that's a topic for another show. I want to quickly talk to you about middle school, because I can concur that middle school is hell. And as someone that was kind of bullied at school, and I was like the fat gay Jewish kid, and but when I kind of turned around and stood up to these bullies, I was kind of like in the wrong. Tell us a little bit about your experience of middle school. I know you weren't the fat gay Jewish kid, but tell us all the same.
Oh, you're Jewish? I'm Jewish too.
Yeah, all the best people are, like I said,
In middle school, middle school I talk about in the book, I say that there's a reason that middle school in particular sucks, which is I think that middle school is the time when social hierarchy kicks in.
Yeah.
Clicking the cliques and all of the popularity and all that stuff, that's when it first arises, but you don't have the maturity that you get later in life that even older high school and college age kids have enough, a little more manners, a little more politeness,
right,
and maybe slightly more open-minded, whereas middle school you have all the social hierarchy with none of the manners that you get as an adult. So it's basically just like animalistic jungle rank. And
for sure.
So that's the reason. And so in terms of bullying, I actually have a good point on that. People ask me a lot whether I was ever bullied in school, and I actually wasn't really in the typical sense of the word bullying. That never really happened to me, but what happened to me was almost worse, because I was just completely ignored through most of my childhood, just totally neglected and not included in any, social interaction whatsoever. And a lot of times I wished that I could have been bullied, because at least that would have been some interaction. And that would have been, I felt like negative social attention would be better than
right,
absolutely zero attention at all. And there's a possibility I could have flipped the bullying into a positive. I could have played the victim card.
Right.
I could have made people feel bad for me, or someone may have seen me. At least I would have been no such thing as bad publicity. At least I would have got eyeballs on me. Maybe someone would have said, oh, wait, I don't think that kid should get bullied. I actually want to be that kid's friend. And then they could have used me as a way to look like real virtuous. Like, oh, look at me. Look how cool I am. I'm befriending the...
That's kind of interesting because I played the comedian card and had, why I went into comedy when I was older. It was a great grounding. But did you feel that they kind of honed in on your awkwardness, for want of a better word?
Well, they didn't hone in on me at all. They just completely didn't even notice me.
Wow.
For much of my school career, until I was a senior finally in high school, and things kind of turned around. And it's because I found a way to fit in with kids. At that age, I got, how people with autism have those special interests. They're obsessed with a certain topic.
Yeah.
Well, the topic I became obsessed with later in high school was rap music, hip hop and R&B,
right,
and African American culture. And that's actually the perfect way to fit in as a high schooler. That's basically the currency. Whoever knows the most rap songs and can speak the most urban slang and whatever, whoever knows the most about black people basically is the coolest.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the fitting in. Well, listen, I could, as ever, I could talk to you forever, but we are kind of coming to the end of our time together. Tell people where they can find you. I shared the link to your book in the live feed, and your contact information is on the X-Rad Facebook page for today. But tell people where they can find you and find out a bit more about you.
Well, yeah, badchoicesmakegoodstories.com. That's where you can get the book. And also, I forgot to mention, the book is the first book with emojis. It has emojis through the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember you saying that last time. I think that's a very interesting concept for a book. And are there any kind of very new emojis, not ones that we're not used to?
Yes, I've got the new ones in there. I've got the classic ones. I've got the miscellaneous ones, all of them. Brilliant,
absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time today, Dielawn. I hope you come back and join us again in the future. Good luck with the book and good luck with the motivational speaking, and you have a fabulous weekend.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Take care. That was Dielawn Volk. Make sure you go and check him out. Very interesting guy. Check out his book on autism. And see what you think of his level of response. I found it pretty interesting. So my next guest, who's going to be calling in any second. His name is Chet Martin, and he is the anchor / host of Freedom on Deck, which goes out on Sundays 3 to 5 in Connecticut and Long Island. And that sounds timing. Hello, Pizza Land. Can I take your order, please?
Yeah, I want a large of everything.
Would you like fries with that?
It's heavy on the salt.
Welcome back to the show, brother. How is the word with you?
It's actually the damnedest thing. I got this stomach virus. That's been going on out in the East End. A lot of people have been getting this stomach bug, and I just so happen to have it. So, not really in the best spirits, but I'm here regardless.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. I do concur. I used some milk earlier that kind of was past its date. It was yesterday, but it smelled okay, and so after I used it on some cereal, my tummy is doing this kind of flippy floppy thing. So if I do whirl while we're doing this interview, I do apologize in advance. But I want to jump right in because I really want to get on to talking about Nancy Pelosi, who's the House Speaker, and she said that barring overwhelming new evidence that she would not pursue impeachment against the big bad orange man, President Donald Trump, because it would be too divisive, and he's just not worth it. I'm not for impeachment, Pelosi said. Well, she actually tried to say. And now the translation of that is, being it just not worth it, is that you spent millions of friggin' taxpayers' dollars on a witch hunt and got nothing, Nancy. Impeachment by the House of Representatives, which Democrats control, can be accomplished by a simple majority. But to remove Trump from office would require a 2/3 majority vote and clear evidence of a reason to do so, not just because you don't like him in the Republican-led Senate. Now, what do you make of this idiocy, Chet? Isn't it time that Nancy Pelosi just hung up her pearls and just sat and knitted by the fire?
I feel like I'm talking to Nancy right now. I think she's trying to get in front of this whole impeachment talk. Because if you listen to Nancy Pelosi, it sounds like the Democrat Party knows that the optics would not be good.
Yeah.
And if they're going to do this before the 2020 election, that will be, it's not going to be popular with the American people. Now, the issue that she has that no one's really talking about is the issue in the House. You have 245 members on the Democrat side of the aisle, and most of them do want to push forward with an impeachment process. Now, if they do that, it's not going to look good for them. So I think that like the newcomers like Cortez and the rest of Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, these radicals are going to want to push forward with this impeachment process. So I think it's the old guard Democrats trying to get ahead of this. It was even Adam Schiff came out and said that it was a bad idea. And that guy is absolutely 100% against the president at all times.
But clearly they have had a heads up from Bobby Mueller to say that that there is no fire, that the smoke has all been created by the Democratic Party smoke machine. And I agree with you. They're trying to get ahead of this so they don't look even more silly than they actually already do. But the biggest thing that bothers me about all of this, when they turn around and say, we have no money for infrastructure, we have no money for schools, and we don't have the money to build a wall. How about putting that $10 million that they wasted on investigating my president towards the damn wall?
Absolutely. And you have the Department of Justice that demanded the Mueller investigation findings released over 2 weeks ago, and we still haven't seen anything.
Right.
You know why? Because they don't have anything.
No.
It's a big nothing burger, and now it's going into his finances and every other damn thing that they can try to shed a bad light on President Donald Trump before he was ever the president of the United States.
Exactly.
And now that's an issue.
The thing that bothers me, another thing that bothers me is that, the left always talks about, Donald Trump's taxes and how, he didn't pay very much taxes. The thing is that if you're in a position to have an accountant, your accountant's job is to get it so you pay as few taxes as possible. Or why would you have them? You have them to find out what you actually have to pay, not to just be paying, any extortionate amount. And surely anybody with any kind of money, you would think that was a kind of a given. But the other side of the coin for this, for me, is if we are looking into Donald Trump's finances, I think that we should now be looking into people like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. How have they become millionaires on their $180,000 a year salary? How can they afford the big fancy houses that they live in? Is it because they're taking kickbacks? We need to look into that too. Surely, if we're cleaning house,
you're hitting the nail on the head. You're exactly right. And you know what? There's other shenanigans going on in the Senate floor. Why are they paying off? Why are senators paying off these people that they have sexually harassed?
Yeah.
And release the names that are in this slush fund that are hidden away in the Senate. We deserve to know these names, and we deserve to know how our taxpayer dollars are being wasted on perverts in the Senate. We need to know.
Absolutely, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now, I want to move on to our second story because we've already kind of alluded to it a little bit today with the Christchurch mosque shooting fresh in our minds, and the media already referring to the perpetrator is a racist Trump supporter. A Connecticut court has ruled this week, yeah, absolutely, the gun maker Remington can now be sued over how it marketed the rifle used to kill 20 children and 6 educators at Sandy Hook Elementary School in 2012. A divided Connecticut Supreme Court ruled this yesterday. Gun control advocates touted the ruling as providing a possible roadmap for victims of other mass shootings to circumvent long criticized federal laws that shields gun manufacturers from liability in most cases when their products are used in crimes, yet not, are you ready for this, the person firing the gun. Now, gun rights supporters bashed the decision as judicial activism, and quite rightly, and as an overreach. In a 4-3 decision, justices reinstated a wrongful death lawsuit against Remington and overturned the ruling of a lower court judge who said from the beginning that the entire lawsuit was prohibited by the 2005 federal law, yet clearly not in the sanctuary state of Connecticut. Now, I wonder, had the perp being illegal, the same outcome would have ensued. It's a wow moment in American legal history and needs to be overturned, or it will change the landscape for this industry potentially all across the country. Now, what's your first response to this, Chet, to this ruling?
Oh, it's horrible. I mean, this is the worst ruling that you could have possibly written up in a liberal's dream. You know, this is going to go down a very slippery slope now. You're going to see all the gun violence that happens in this country. You're going to be able to sue the gun manufacturer, the gun owner, the gun lobbyists, the NRA. We have a group out, the president of the CCDL comes on with us on our show every once in a while, and they were presenting gun bills the other week, some that were actually pro-gun and some that were anti-gun. And what they're trying to do in Connecticut right now is strip everybody of their right to protect themselves. It's absolutely atrocious that a partisan hack judge can make a decision like this that will eventually lead to people giving up their rights to bear arms. It's sad.
But clearly, this is the ideology behind it. So, by the same token, and you know, I'm not decrying what happened to those unfortunate people in that school on that day. So, if someone is driving along in a Mercedes-Benz and the brakes fail on the Mercedes-Benz and they plow into a group of school children and 4 teachers and they all die as a result of it, does that mean now the families of those that died consume Mercedes-Benz?
Well, you're right. Absolutely. It's the same damn thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough in this country that we have everybody suing everybody over every damn thing.
Yes.
You know, there's always a hack lawyer out there to make a buck. But to go down this slippery slope is something that I've never seen before. And, you know, when we talk about Sandy Hook, I remember that day. It was right around the corner. You know, we're covered in Connecticut. We're heard in Connecticut. So that shooting means a lot to me, and it was horrific. It was horrific. You remember Obama politicizing it when he went on TV that night and cried in front of the world.
Yeah. When
I knew they were alligator tears. And when they use an example like that to push through this ruling, what they're doing is they're trying to get the knee-jerk reaction, and they got it.
Absolutely. And how kind of usual of the left to politicize any situation. And I think that the scary thing about this, I mean, where does this end now? So if someone, you know, I'm going to give you a very silly example. So I have arthritis and I can't open cans with the can opener. So I use an electric can opener. So if I take that electric can opener out with me and swing it into someone's head and they die as a result, Kenwood now be sued for that? I mean, this is how ridiculous that ruling is, and how it's going to continue to get even worse. Do you know what I mean? It's.
Well,
Go ahead.
I suppose in the UK, Faberware can get sued over their knives because
Yeah.
you got knife attacks in the UK that
Yeah.
are through the roof. There's actually this lawmaker in the UK, I was reading this yesterday, who actually wants to put chips in the knives so that they can keep track of them. Have you ever heard of anything so ridiculous in your
No,
life?
I haven't. I mean, what next? Disclaimers on the knives. This is only to be used for cutting food and preparing food, not for attacking people. Because that's, if I was a knife manufacturer, that's what I would be doing now. Maybe this is what the company Remington. Maybe that's what they need to print on their guns and their ammo. This is not meant for the use of killing people. And then they're covering themselves, aren't they?
Yeah,
surely it's that simplistic.
They probably will figure a way out to get in front of this, and
Right.
and what you're saying is actually not ridiculous. That's happened with various different companies throughout the United States in the past. But it's sad that it has to come to that, because it's never a good guy with a gun that kills an innocent person.
No.
It's always it's an evildoer.
Right.
Usually they've gotten the gun under the table, usually illegally. In this case, it was Adam Lanza, who was not mentally stable, who had all the telltale signs of committing a school shooting. Now,
Right.
who they should be suing are all the drug companies that were giving him the drugs that he
Yes.
was receiving at the time, and the school district itself for allowing that to happen. That is the problem in the United States. We have these kids that are going unchecked, that are being allowed to attend the schools where they end up shooting everybody, just like Nicholas Cruz. He had been visited by the police 52 times, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And we're not addressing the problem. And if
We're
we don't
absolutely
address
not.
the problem, there's going to be more kids that are going to die.
Absolutely. Now, in the last few minutes that we've got, I want to talk a little bit with you about what happened in New Zealand today. I'm sure you heard my commentary in the preamble, and
Sure.
my concern at the level of response. I want to talk a little bit about the double standard that happens here, and I really want to just preempt this very quickly. If you are stupid enough to think that I condone any of these actions, then you can email me at xandergibb@idon'tgiveacrapaboutwhatyoutthink.com. But what's your response to this that's happened today, Chet, and what would you like to see change as a result of it?
Well, I think it's sad that it becomes politicized from the get-go. And I'm actually shocked that the video is still up on Facebook. That's surprising. And they need to do something about that. They need to get in front of this. They need to make it able so these people can't live stream a mass killing, because this guy wanted the fame. He had written a manifesto.
Yes.
He talked about being a communist. He was not a supporter of the president. He did not like the president's policies. He stated that himself. Of course, the left is running around saying that he is, just like they did when the synagogue was shot up. They said that guy was a Trump supporter, and he wasn't.
No.
This was somebody with evil in their heart. We've had these situations before. We've had them in synagogues, in churches, in schools. What we ultimately have to come down to a conclusion is we need armed guards at the schools and the churches.
We do. We absolutely do.
You're not going to stop this any other way. The liberals are going to try to make it about their agenda. I saw AOC on Twitter this morning saying that thoughts and prayers don't fix anything. How rude! What a disgusting individual she is.
I am hoping that her and Tlaib and that Ilhan Omar are kind of gone very quickly, because they are an insult to everything that we stand for in the United States. But I want to digress for just 1 second. There's a group in London, and they've made lots of videos. They're actually a mainly Muslim group, and the group is called Not in My Name. And I applaud their level of commentary, and I kind of think that this has to work both sides of the fence, really. That we should be saying that not in my name. This does not represent me in any way, shape, or form. And I want to see more people from all sides coming forward and actually proclaiming that this is wrong and this does not represent me. Because when we are silent about it, I know a lot of my friends who are Muslim are afraid of the response that they will get from the Muslim community for saying it. But I'm not here to be liked, Chet, and I'm sure you're not either. I'm actually here to be popular. I'm sorry, I'm not here to be popular. I'm sorry, I'm not here. I'm here to be popular. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to make a difference. It's very late here in the UK. In the last couple of minutes, over to you. What do you make of that?
Well, what I want to see happen here is I want there to be open dialect, which we don't have enough. And you're right,
No.
It's on the Muslim side of the aisle, too. They are unwilling to talk about when there's a terrorist attack in their name. They don't speak up.
No.
They have controversial groups like CARE that are on. If you notice, CARE was on Fox News today. They're always there for a microphone, and they're backed by Hamas, and they have terrorist backing by the Muslim Brotherhood. And if people don't believe that, you're living in the twilight zone.
You are, absolutely.
The reason that something like this can happen, metastasize, and become a reality is because a lot of crazy people out there are sick of seeing their countries get infiltrated.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it like
Yeah.
that.
I agree with you 200%.
To say, but it's the truth.
That was. I mean, I like I said at the beginning, although I'm very saddened by this, and this should never happen. I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened before now, because people are sick of getting of these things happening, and they're sick of people being killed by Muslim fundamentalists. Not that I feel that it's okay to blame, your common or garden Muslim for what fundamentalists do, but there are sick people out there that would see it in that way. So it's not surprising that this has happened, but it's not something we should condone. We are out of time, unfortunately, Chet. Tell people about your show on Sunday and where they can find you.
Go to freedomondeck.com. That's going to give you all the links that you need as our social media links. It tells you the FM station that we're affiliated with and where you can click to listen live every Sunday. Actually, we're not sure if we're going to be on the air this weekend because I'm not feeling well, and the other guys do not what I have, believe me. So we're not sure about this weekend, but we're every weekend, 3 to 5. Go to freedomondeck.com. Thanks a lot, Sam.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, even though you didn't feel very good. That really says a lot about your character, my brother, and feel better and have a great weekend and give my best to your boys.
I'll never miss a day with you, my man.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care. That was fabulous. Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check him out this weekend. Sunday, 3 till 5, if he's going to be well enough to do so. Don't go anywhere. Go grab a cup of tea. Make sure you stick around and catch me on the real side with Joe Messina. Thanks to everybody in the live feed. Wrong teeth. And can you please click the share button before you go? It's so imperative that you do that. We're trying we're trying to build the show up again. As we will be going to, I'm going to announce this now. From May, you can have the Gibbster 5 days a week. We will be back every day. 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, Monday to Friday. But we need to build the show back up again. So please click that share button. Have a fabulous weekend. Stay safe. And I really do love you all. I do. Bye-bye.
It's been good to me this time around. Things were they were bound to change when it was found. Sugar